A warm welcome to all of our viewers. My name is Elizabeth from the Namibia Media Trust, and we are here with a pop-up podcast episode of the NXT Journalism Hub. I'd like to wish everyone a prosperous 2024 before we begin. I'm joined by someone who had a prosperous 2023 as well, and I'd like to give her the opportunity to just briefly introduce herself and also the magnificent project that she has been working on.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. My name is Selma Iyambo. I am the host and founder of Sex Talks Podcast. I am also a sexual reproductive health rights activist and a journalist with the Namibian newspaper. Wow, 2023 has been a very long year. Quite significant progress has been made, especially when it comes to the podcast, which was an idea in 2022, 2023. We're able to get it off the ground, all thanks to NMT, DW Academy, and various sponsors. And we're also able to get it to get sponsorship from UNICEF Upshift Project, as well as the Mental Health and Sexual Reproductive Health Rights Hack Lab that we then participated in Nairobi, Kenya.
All right, that sounds exciting. For those who may not know, the NXT Journalism Hub is the NMT's training platform where we train not only podcasters, but journalists and media professionals alike. You can find more information, of course, on our various platforms. Twitter, or formerly known as Twitter, now known as X, Instagram, Facebook, and the likes. So tell us more about how you got to hear about the opportunity with the NXT Journalism Hub training.
I love the fact that you have given out the tea that you can be able to get more information about the various projects that you run as NMT under the fellowship. How I got to find out about the bootcamp, the podcast bootcamp, was through social media. I came across a post that you guys were running on Twitter. I also came across one on Instagram where they were looking for young aspiring podcasters and the 5-day training that you'll be offering. There was quite a few essays I had to write to be able to submit the application, and a few weeks after we were then informed that I am successful for the project, and that's how I was then able to bring a few thoughts together. Looking at what I've been working in, as I've mentioned, I work in the area of sexual reproductive health rights, something that I've been doing for over 5 years, and I'm also to be graduating in journalism from the University of Namibia.
Yay.
So it's kind of how we're then able to get into the gist of having a conversation about what podcast can I actually be able to bring to life, and that's how then Sex Talks Podcast was born, to be able to educate, inform, and make sure that young people have platforms where they can hear relatable content in terms of their sexual reproductive health and rights. So that, in a nutshell, is how we got to hear about the fellowship.
Well, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
your upcoming achievement. I mean, working towards graduation is a battle, but the fruits are always worthy at the end of the day.
Indeed.
Also, I'd like to congratulate you on the progress that you have been making with your podcast. You have been one of our most outstanding participants, I must say. I know this for a fact because I was fortunate enough to be one of the participants for that year, which was 2022. So moving on, how was the experience for you overall? How did you find the experience?
Well, at first it was overwhelming, I would say, because I'm like, how am I supposed to get this whole things in one go, the editing, the recording, and how I'm able to come up with the idea of the podcast and bringing it to life. So it was overwhelming, it was exciting, it was eye-opening, because then it's getting the information, then the process of trying to actually implement what you've been able to gain, and then running a whole podcast. That is something else. So I would say it's something that really took a lot, but once during the training, it seemed like it was really a lot, and that's the point when it was overwhelming. But as soon as I then started putting everything into practice, moving from one point to another, it then got better, it got easier as the more times that you go through it. And the other thing I would say is having a tribe and really a supportive system of being able to hold you accountable, being able to walk you through the journey, is something that has made it very much easier. Because looking at it, it's a thing of you don't only receive training, but then you are also then able to do recordings with NMT. You're also able to come back and seek guidance to say, I know you have said A, B, C, D, this is how I'm supposed to edit an episode, but I'm sorry, it's not working out. What exactly am I supposed to be doing? So you are then also able to reflect back, and the fact that you also then have not a short period of time whereby you are under mentorship, because I feel like they will tell you at 4 months, 6 months of mentorship. That's a lie. That's a lifetime commitment. So every now and then, so that whole accountability structure and having a support system is really something that has been able to make the journey less overwhelming, but more overwhelming because more is expected from you.
I think another element that I would say was exciting, especially for me, was having the opportunity to work with podcasters from other countries,
Renowned
seeing that it's a
podcasters.
SADC project, and we have we normally, the NMT and its partners would normally invite participants from outside to apply as well. And so I think for me that was a huge takeaway, just being able to learn about the different podcast cultures and just the different cultures overall. So, besides what you have just described regarding the mentorship and just the different stages that were included in the project, can you kindly just explain to or express to everyone what else is included in the package? Understand, or I know that there was some funding included as well. Perhaps you can just shed light on how that may have been useful and perhaps how it may have assisted in helping to kickstart the production and whatever else may have been included in the podcast journey.
All right. So in terms of the seed funding that is available, they have a limit of at least 5 episodes, and they have a specific fee that allows you, because the recording is done at NMT. However, they're still compensating you for your time in the investment that you're putting up in this project. During the time when we were part of this fellowship, we have to record at least 5 episodes, and each episode was more of round about 900 Namibian dollars. So with this, it's something of a starter pack where we're then able to look at starting off your the logo, the branding, and everything else of the of the podcast. So this makes it way easier, and it's also something to look forward to, because it's just not I have to record this episode. It's a thing of I'm looking forward to recording this episode. So it allows you to be able to have this setup. So depending on how many episodes you are then able to record, the amount keeps piling up, because it's one episode that then gets the compensation. But other than that, it also depends on the accountability that comes with after you've done the recording, because they expect you to be able to reflect back and say, this is what I was able to do with A, B, C, D. And in my case, that is when we then have a website, we then have Spotify, Apple Podcast, and social media, just to be able to get the word out there
Yeah.
and get the podcast running. And apart from that, the recording, the funding, also the backbone, the one thing that I can continue saying is that having a supportive system that is able to help you and push you and guide you to say, I see you're doing A, B, C, D for your podcast. Don't you think we should take this road? Because we have renowned podcasters as mentors that allow us to be able to receive better guidance in how we can then be able to move forward. So that was my key takeaway in terms of the funding and the support.
I mean, I was one of the most fortunate people to see your podcast grow from idea development to refining to finally getting off ground. But then we have seen your growth has gone. I don't know if to say it's not regional. What country was that? We saw you received an award. Congratulations again. Can you tell us more about your award? How you ended up participating in that event? I saw that it was sort of an event happening there as well. Yeah, tell us a
So
bit more about that, please.
okay. So apart from now having NMT and the various partners supporting, it was something of Upshift Namibia. This is a project that is hosted by UNICEF. They are looking for young people that are making or looking forward to making a difference in the communities that they are from, and they also provided some sort of, it's not seed funding because it starts off as a boot camp where we were more than 80. The number keeps going down until the last 20. And in the last 20, they give seed funding to the top 7. And the funding depends on the position that you come. I was fortunate enough to be amongst the top 7. I was the second runner-up. So as the second runner-up, that also allowed me to receive some sort of seed funding. And with that seed funding, that's how we're able to record more episodes in the area of sexual reproductive health rights. For those that don't know, Sex Talks Podcast is a digital platform that allows young people to have conversations about issues that society considers as a taboo and those that our parents are uncomfortable to discuss with us. So with that amount of funding, we're then able to get the podcast and record. We have more than 6 episodes at that time. And we then came across another opportunity, which is now the one of the biggest accomplishments that we had throughout the 2023 year is the Mental Health and Sexual Reproductive Health Rights Hack Lab. So this is something that is hosted by UNFPA, country of regional office, East and Southern African office. So this also includes Namibia, seeing that we are part of the southern part of the continent. And this had a call for application for young people that are using technology as a means to solve now the two intersection of mental health and sexual reproductive health. And sexual reproductive health is already something that we have been into. So we thought the intersection is relevant and it's something that affects most of the young people. Why not shoot our shots? So it started off with applications from across the region, South and Eastern Africa. So there were applications from all across the continent, and they had received over 200 applications. They then shortlisted to the top 10, which we were once again fortunate to be part of. And from the top 10, it was a thing of having a boot camp, pre-pitching, and being prepared for this competition and filling the judges in and the relevant stakeholders, which is our UNFPA Afri Labs, that are bringing the initiative to us in Youth Connect Africa Summit. And this is where the final pitching competition happened in Nairobi, Kenya. So with this, we then attended the boot camp. We were pre-pitching. We were trying to refine the idea to be able to be part of the 10 people that have the in-person pitch. In the in-person pitch, they were unfortunately looking for the top 2 people who then have a solution that solves both mental health and sexual reproductive health. And it was quite a tough competition. Everybody had an amazing idea that was helping their community, seeing that we came from different backgrounds. But what was evident is the fact that both had to be around mental health and sexual reproductive health. And with the team, because it's not only me alone in seeing the work that is involved, we're able to get a team that comes in and assist in the packaging and content creation. We're then able to get this pitching up and running, and we match as one of the 2 winners that then received seed funding of 20,000 USD. Both of us, there was another young lady from Malawi who also had an innovative solution of this. So this is how we then ended up receiving the Innovation Award, because they were looking for innovators, and fortunately, we are one
You
of
are
the
an
2.
innovator.
I am an innovator, so this is how
the mission of the NXT Journalism Hub is to identify, give an opportunity to young innovators and just, groom where necessary, improve where necessary, and allow them to shine as you have been shining. We're excited to hear about the direction that you'll be taking with the podcast. It's such a relevant topic, and I like the approach that you're taking and being considerate that not everyone has a figure in their life that they can approach with certain topics. So again, congratulations, and thank you for joining us today. We wish you all of the best with your podcast.